morning, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for joining us again here on FFA Week and our celebration on Good Guys Radio TV and Seat 103. A big thank you to our sponsors, including Adams Brown Farm Bureau, Baxla Tractor Sales, Carrington Farm Supply, Georgetown Marble and Granite, Southern Ohio Medical Center, Community Fuels and Lubricants in West Union, Armstrong Crop Insurance, the National Bank of Adams County, Vital Farms, and Huntley Napa Auto Parts in West Union and Georgetown. We've talked with several FFA chapters throughout the week, something a little different this morning, as we're going to welcome in a local farm family. We have Nathan and Sherry Cluxton joining us here today. Thank you both very much for coming in and talking with us.
Thanks for having us.
No problem.
Yeah, fantastic. So got to first kind of address the opportunity that you guys have. I would assume not a lot of free time on a family farm to just come and sit and talk for an hour. But fortunately, we've had some, not great weather. And so the opportunity affords itself that you can take at least a few minutes away, right?
Yeah, I guess.
What are you missing out on right now at home that would normally be going on?
Checking cows.
Yeah.
Fixing a water leak that has to be fixed this morning. So it's not all bad.
It never stops.
Never stops.
Never stops. All right. Well, let's start first with a little background on yourselves. Obviously, you guys own and operate family farm. How long has that been in whose family? Who?
It's my family farm. I'm fourth generation. 1935 is when that
Wow.
farm was bought and started.
That's awesome.
So we own beef cattle and grain farm.
Yeah. So 90 years in now, and in that 90 years, if you're talking 4 generations, this will be your great-great-grandfather, great-great-grandparents?
One great.
One great.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah. See, generational math's hard.
No, that's
Math's hard in general. But so great-grandfather, is the operation, as far as, what you guys are growing and raising, is it pretty much the same from then, now 90 years on?
As far as the crop side is, obviously soybeans came in several years ago. He didn't raise them. He had cattle, sheep, hogs, which we don't do any sheep or hogs anymore,
Sure.
but it's relatively the same. Obviously changed, but the same.
Yeah. Tobacco?
We did do tobacco up until about 2004. And
Okay.
we stopped doing that. But yeah, he raised it from the time he started in Adams County.
Fantastic. I'm assuming that was a fun job back in your youth, was working the tobacco fields.
It wasn't
It was
bad.
a job,
It was
yeah.
a job, yeah. There was some fun, but it was work, yeah.
Yeah.
No doubt.
So come the buyout, that the 2004, I'm assuming that's when most people in the area transitioned out of raising tobacco crop. Can you remember, back at that time, kind of the feeling and maybe like the adjustment that had to be made?
Yeah, it was an adjustment just from the income side, obviously. I don't know. It was bittersweet. It was less work, but
Sure.
you was going to miss it too. Especially when we had always did it. I never knew a time we didn't raise tobacco. So, yeah, it was an adjustment for sure.
That doesn't mean suddenly more free time on the farm, though.
Oh no, you found something else take its place pretty quick.
I think it's interesting though that you'll admit that it was you had some fun with it back in the day.
Oh yeah. Well, especially when you're working with some buddies or whatever. We didn't work real hard sometimes. We might have goofed off in the tobacco patch, but yeah, it wasn't bad.
Yeah. Best part of that process or worst part of that process? Where did you fall on the cutting or the hanging or what were the stripping tobacco? What was the best for you? What was the worst?
Probably the best was stripping. Because you was in there with family or some guys you knew or whatever.
Sure.
It wasn't really labor intensive doing the stripping. I might be a little different. My worst part I thought was setting. I never mind cutting or hanging the tobacco. Probably setting or hoeing it. Hoeing it may have been the worst for sure.
I'll vouch for hoeing.
Yeah.
I hated hoeing tobacco.
Both, yeah. So Sherry obviously, didn't grow up on the Cluxton family farm,
Right.
but grew up on your own family farm.
The Smiley Farm.
The Smiley Farm, right?
Yeah.
Which I know you told us as we were starting the show, and we had them last year.
Yeah,
Another
my dad and brother. Yeah.
generational farm, which
It's been in the family for over 250 years.
right.
So my dad's the 7th, and my brother obviously farms with him. So he's the 8th.
Which is
Yeah.
just fascinating.
Yeah, it is.
A
It
family
is.
has kept it going that long.
Yeah.
Growing up, obviously working the farm, living on the farm with your family. Did you picture yourself, continuing to work on a family farm into adulthood?
I always hoped so, because that's all I ever, that's all I ever knew. And I appreciated, my family history and where I came from. And honestly, when I was a teenager, I didn't think about getting married or ever having kids, honestly.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm glad I've been able to do that, and instill those values into our kids, and hopefully our kids instill those same things into their kids.
For sure.
Whether or not they choose to stay on the family farm, at least take those lessons and stuff with them,
Yeah.
and whatever they do.
Yeah,
So-
and I think that it's very interesting that you grow up in that atmosphere and in that that steeped in that history.
Yeah.
And then go on. Was that a deciding factor when Nathan popped the question? You're like, well, he does have a farm.
No, not really. But we did meet at the vocational school.
Oh,
we were
perfect.
in the same farm business management class.
Fantastic.
So even though I was from North Adams and he was from Peebles, that rivalry, I looked past that.
The FFA boiled that
I
out.
had a weak
Yes.
moment is what happened.
You had a weak moment. Well, obviously, FFA, as it is National FFA Week, and that's what this week of shows and celebration has been all about. Must mean a lot to the both of you, and we'll talk a little more about that as the show goes on. But let's talk a little more about growing up on the family farm, Nathan. As Sherry kind of alluded to, those daily lessons probably didn't come across as these big life lessons. It was just, this is the work we do and this is how we do it, and that's just kind of how things are done. I would assume.
Yeah, it is. I mean, at the time when you're out there, whatever you're doing, whether you're feeding calves or you're working in tobacco or planting corn, planting beans, whatever, there's things that happen and you navigate through them or whatever, and
Right.
you're like, well, I'll never think about that again. But yeah, I mean, looking back, there's things that you was learning you didn't really know you was learning.
Yeah. Now, you talked about your great-grandfather having been the one that started this family farm and have kept that going. Did you have an opportunity to work much on the farm with him?
No, he had passed away before I was born. I mainly was with my grandpa and then my dad some
Okay.
on the farm.
Talk a little about that experience of some of those moments shared, with your granddad. From, I guess what I want to focus on is the transition of when you're a kid doing and living and working on the farm, and that transition into adulthood. I'd have to assume happens kind of slowly and yet all at once at the same time. There's probably not a particular day when all of a sudden they handed over the reins and said, "Here."
Right. No. I mean, when you're little or you're younger, obviously, you want to do more than what you can do. You want to drive the tractor. You want to do this. You want to do that. And you can't. And yeah, I mean, I think the first time I drove a tractor, I was 7,
Oh, wow.
5 or 7. I don't remember exactly, but it was a big deal. And then you wanted to do it more.
Right.
So and after you do that, you want to pull something with a tractor or whatever. And I never thought about, all right, I'm getting to do more and more. It was just kind of, I don't know if you say they let you do more or they made you do more. I'm not sure which one.
Once
would be
you've
right.
shown that you had the skill set, it probably trusted you to do more.
That's probably the right way to put it. Yeah, you got yourself into more work, so what happened. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, most of the time I was with my grandpa because my dad, he farmed and he also worked a job. So
Sure.
mainly with grandpa. Then we started milking in 95. So me and my dad milked and grandpa helped do other things. He didn't really milk. But yeah, I mean, I didn't understand at the time. Yeah, I was getting to do more, but then it became not a job, but you was responsible to make things happen.
Right.
So yeah, I can't tell you that there was any certain time that was like, bang, you do it now or whatever. It was
Right.
just slow, and yeah, more the responsibility thing was probably it.
Did there come a day when there was a conversation to say, like, this, if you want this, if you want to keep this going, here's the key,
Right. No, not really.
No?
I can't. I mean, when Grandpa got older and decided he was going to hang it up.
Sure.
Dad did it for a while, and then Dad decided he didn't want to do it. So it's like, here's the opportunity. If you want to do it, and there we go, we're off. So,
So, opportunity, or did you find that to be kind of like responsibility to continue that family legacy of farming?
it's both. I mean, yeah, it was an opportunity, but yeah, you felt responsible because obviously the farm had been there at that time when we started. Actually took over. The majority of it was 2017, so we was approaching 100 years or
Right.
within 15, 20 years. So yeah, it felt like a responsibility too that needed to carry on after it'd been that long.
For sure.
Nobody wants to be that generation to
Right.
let it go.
Right.
Exactly. Well, and very similar situation for you with the family farm you've grown up on, even
Right.
more so of that 250-year marker,
Right.
and again coming from that legacy on your side with your family farm, helping your husband go through that transition and make the decision of saying that we're not going to be that
Right.
generation, we're going to carry it
Right.
on. What's that mean to you?
Especially seeing our kids. We have 4 kids. Of course, Carly, she's married, and she lives with her husband on their family farm. And, our 2 boys, and then our daughter Taylor. I mean, they're all there to help with the cattle, especially. So I see it going another generation with them somehow, and even our grandkids. Our oldest son, he's got 4 kids, and the boys, especially, of course, Charlie, she just wants to ride the cows, but the boys, they're really into it and stuff. So I hope,
Taylor is too.
yeah, I mean, and all of our kids,
Yeah.
I think they appreciate it, and they want to keep it going, whether it's with their kids
Sure.
or their nieces and nephews. They want to hold on to it to keep it going. So
Yeah, because I mean the 5th generation's helping now, and
Yes.
the 6th is there
Yeah.
little, but
Already
they're seeing
learning,
it.
yeah.
So,
yeah. And then maybe future
Right.
6th
Yeah.
extras. So
That's- So for you guys, both having grown up on a farm, been with generational farming families, we talked about the responsibility of taking over, from parents, grandparents. What about the responsibility moving down to your children and that next generation is it in the back of your mind to say, I need to instill these same values in my kids so that this can continue?
for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially now. It seems like nowadays. Are we getting rich money wise? No.
Yeah.
But we're rich in a lot of other things.
Rich in the ways that matter.
Exactly.
Right?
The more important things.
Yeah.
So I mean, we pay our bills, we're able to do things, our lifestyle is a little different, especially with livestock. Do we take a lot of vacations? No. Our kids, when they were little, State Fair was their vacation. They took
Right.
heifers up there and
Waited
showed.
for the
So-
Adams County Fair and the State Fair, right?
Absolutely. So, I mean, it's not that, hey, if you guys want to take off for a week, that's fine, because there's enough of us there
Right.
to watch things. And I think we have taken one family vacation. That was in 2020 when the State Fair got canceled.
Yeah.
We went to Myrtle Beach.
Yeah.
We'd never been to the beach.
Yeah, I think that is the first time, and all of us anyway.
Yeah.
Went.
We took grandkids. We only had the 2 at the time, but all of our kids and everything, we took off and went.
That's
so,
awesome.
But, our kids, it's like, hey, if you want to go and do this, that's fine.
Right.
And we've never told them they have to stay there and do that. They have just chose to.
Yeah.
So,
Well, and again, it goes back to those values and those life lessons that sometimes I'm sure maybe didn't sink in the first time around, much with your own experiences growing up as a farming family.
Right.
But over time and through those hard taught lessons,
Yeah.
the kids change. So I do, we talked about doing dairy. That you can't take a vacation away from the farm ever, but especially when you're doing dairy cattle, that's every morning, every evening, regardless, those cows have to be milked. So
Yeah.
you guys still have dairy nowadays?
No,
No.
we sold the dairy cows 2010, I believe.
Yeah.
it
Was that a conscious decision on your part? Because as
That,
you know?
It was really more my dad had the dairy cows. I just helped him milk
Sure.
more or less. It was to the point we had to grow substantially in the dairy part
Yeah.
or quit just because of the income factor.
Sure.
So at that time, it made more sense to let them go and to move in a different direction.
Well, and I do want to ask that. How do you guys, you talked about you're raising crops, you're raising cattle. How do you come to the decision as a producer to say, this is what we know we're good at, this is our bread and butter, this is the good crop, or experiment with stuff and say, hey, next season I'd like to try this, or I hear this grows well.
Well, I mean, in the crop side, we really don't switch crops. Now, obviously, we'll try different things on the corn, the soybeans, or the wheat, or whatever, to play with it to see what we can do with it. But as far as moving in a different direction on the farm to do something, maybe not really out of the box, but different for us, that's not me. I got to stick with what I know. So
If it's not broke, don't fix it kind of guy.
Well, and
there
you
go.
always had beef cattle anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
we was always diverse. I mean, like I said, when I was a kid, we didn't have the milk cows, but we had sheep, hogs, and beef
Right,
cattle.
right.
And we kind of was forced out of the sheep business by coyotes. So that
Yeah,
that
that's
kind
a
of
whole-
put us. Yeah, that's a whole different.
Always
ball
something
wax.
working against you. Yeah.
So that kind of pushed us into the dairy, or didn't push us in, but that's what we
Right.
transitioned
Where you
into.
landed, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, when as you said, Sherry, try this. If you in an operation where you've been raising cattle for that long, is there really anything left to try, or different ways to approach things?
Maybe on like certain breeds, genetics, and that kind of stuff, or feed rations. But
Yeah, I mean,
no, it's just pretty
Probably.
much simpler. Just keep it simple.
Yeah.
Do what you know.
the genetics probably.
Yeah,
I
the
mean,
genetics is the big factor.
when I was a kid, we just you had
Yeah.
cows, you turned the bull out, you had calves.
Right.
Yeah,
And that way, but now you need to pay attention to,
yeah.
to
We look
genetics
at
and selection.
the EPDs, the numbers. Are they going to throw big calves? These bulls, are they going to throw baby, smaller calves and stuff? So, I think we do pay a lot of attention to that anymore. It's like, okay, we need a bull on heifers. We need one that we're not going to have to pull calves, and that kind of stuff, that they can have them just fine.
Right.
Not so much us. I mean, our sons and
Yeah.
Taylor, our daughter, that's still at home with us. They really pay attention to that. They really get into the cattle. So I
Yeah.
would say they're more into that part
Yeah.
of it, which is good because I don't need another thing to think about. So
Yeah, and it's good for them to make those decisions.
For sure.
I mean, especially right now, we're getting bull sale books, and they're sitting there looking at the numbers and discussing this and that. Well, we need this type of bull for feedlot calves. These are big growers. Well, this one's more for heifers. So it's good that they've learned that and picked up on it and pay attention to it. So.
How hard is it as a farming family to have that kind of work-life balance wherein obviously you guys are making your living as, a farming family, but at the same time seems like outside of talking about the farm as a business, you're talking about the farm as like that's what you enjoy. So do you find it hard to strike like ever feeling truly away from work as a farm family? And interactions with your kids?
I don't know. We're always not always together, but I don't know. It's just something we do.
Right.
I was going to say that, everything pretty much in one shape or form will come back to something that we do on the farm or like that. I mean, you could probably find one or two things that ain't, but I mean, everything's still, but I mean, that's how we was raised.
Yeah.
That's how
Right.
we raised them. So
They
It's
can't
just
help
the
it.
way of life.
It's
Yeah.
in their blood. It was bred into them.
Yeah, literally. Yeah, that's fantastic. So, well, with that, folks, we're going to take our first break here on our FFA Week celebration on C103 and Good Guys Radio TV. Again, thanks to our sponsors, Adams Brown Farm Bureau, Baxla Tractor Sales, Carrington Farm Supply, Georgetown Marble and Granite, Southern Ohio Medical Center, Armstrong Crop Insurance, Community Fuels, the National Bank of Adams County, Vital Farms, and Huntley Napa Auto Supply. We'll be back to continue our show right after this here on C103 and Good Guys Radio TV.
Farm families like yours are growing their businesses to ensure their best farm futures. Farm Bureau helps your competitive advantage by advocating for members, connecting you to like-minded entrepreneurs, and providing you with insights and business solutions to grow your bottom line. Add to that healthcare benefits, financial and insurance needs, market intel, and legislative, regulatory, legal risk management tools, and it's easy to see how Farm Bureau is feeding your need for new ideas. Renew your membership or become a member today. Learn more at ohiofarmbureau.org.
We've been growing since 1946. As your Kubota dealer, our focus is to help you grow today and into the future. Stop by one of our locations today, visit with our folks, and see our entire lineup of Kubota products.
Our business is helping you grow. Maxler Tractor.
Carrington Farm Supply in Georgetown has everything you need for your farm, large or small. Carrington Farm Supply can provide your operation with high-quality farm supplies, equipment, and fertilizers. And since they're an independent ag retailer that's family-owned and operated, it goes without saying that you'll also get high-quality service. Stop in at Carrington Farm Supply in Georgetown Monday through Friday from 8 to 5 or Saturdays from 8 to noon. Call Carrington Farm Supply at 378-3221 and tell them what you need. Chances are they'll tell you they've got it. More than a century of service. Let that sink in for a moment. For more than 100 years, since 1908 and through 4 generations of family-owned business, Georgetown Marble and Granite has stood firm in our community. They've helped thousands of families pay their respects and have memorialized so many lives gone, but not forgotten. When that difficult time comes, Georgetown Marble and Granite will be there to assist you too. Visit their location on East North Street in Georgetown or call 937-378-6314.
At SOMC, it's happening. Now the SOMC Patient Portal app puts managing your health care right in your hands. You can request appointments with a simple touch of a screen, quickly and easily get a refill of your prescriptions, make online bill payments, direct message your SOMC provider, and even have safe and convenient virtual visits just about anywhere. The Patient Portal app at Southern Ohio Medical Center. Very good things are happening here.
If this summer brings scorching temperatures and drought conditions, Armstrong Crop Insurance, your local hometown agency, can come to the rescue. They're here to protect your crops from excessive heat, rainfall, wildlife destruction, hail, and even uncertain prices. They have 3 full-time agents who live and farm in your community. The deadline to apply for crop insurance is March 17th. Don't stress all summer long. Call Armstrong Crop Insurance today at 937-378-4430 for a quote, or stop by their office at 501 East State Street in Georgetown. Armstrong Crop Insurance, where the agent is the advantage. Equal opportunity provider. Agriculture is what drives our community. That's why the folks at Community Fuels in West Union are proud to help drive agriculture. Whether it's fueling our local farmers as they head to the fields for spring planting season, or supporting our students as they learn and grow through our local FFA organizations, Community Fuels is there, and they'd be happy to help drive you too. Community Fuels in West Union, proudly serving Adams, Brown, Claremont, Highlands, Scioto, and Pike counties for all your fueling needs. Call today at 937-544-2190.
Whether you play on a football team, a baseball or softball team, a soccer team, a bowling team, a golf team, or a basketball team, the National Bank of Adams County is proud to be a supporter. At the National Bank of Adams County, we have been a part of this community for years. Our children have learned to play every sport in this county, and we've been there to cheer them from the stands. The National Bank of Adams County is proud to support all of those who step up to the plate, the line, the tee, or the net. Good luck and have a successful season.
The National Bank of Adams County, keeping it local. Member FDIC and equal housing lender.
Hi folks, it's Marty Huntley. Spring is just around the corner and it's time for our annual Farm Days filter and tool sale at Huntley Napa Auto Parts in West Union and Georgetown. For 12 days only, Thursday, March the 6th through Monday, March the 17th, save up to 55% off our everyday prices on Napa Gold filter. You heard that right. That makes a $10 filter just $4.50. Check out some of these other great deals. Shell Rotella 1540, just $13.99 a gallon. Napa regular or synthetic blend oils, $3.29 a quart. Bubble One full synthetics, $6.99 a quart. Napa full strength antifreeze, $8.99 a gallon. Lawn and garden batteries starting at $26.99 exchange. Tracker hydraulic fluid, $39.99 for 5 gallon. Group 31 truck and equipment batteries, $99.99 exchange. Diesel exhaust fluid, 2.5 gallons for just $9.99. Valvoline Crimson Red tube grease, $3.99 per tube. Looking for quality tools and equipment? We got DeWalt, Milwaukee, Carlisle, and more. In stock at great prices. Stop in Thursday, March the 6th through Monday, March the 17th and save up to 55% off our regular prices on Napa Gold Filter. That's Huntley Napa Auto Parts in West Union and Georgetown. We're open 7 days a week and weeknights until 7 p.m.
It's almost here.
Stolen away by Feldhouse. Bradshaw gets it back. He's going to dunk it on.
The biggest game of the year.
Little hop and a skip. Euro step up and in. Where did that come
The
from?
40th annual C103 Shack Senior All-Star Game is coming Friday, March 28th.
The other direction. Rothwell on the drive is fouled.
Join us at North Adams High School for a night full of basketball action featuring the girls and boys All-Star Games, All-Star cheerleaders, hot shot and slam dunk contests, and the awarding of the C103 scholarships. Friday, March 28th. Welcome back into our 10 a.m. community show and our FFA Week celebration here on C103 and Good Guys Radio TV. Again, thank you to our sponsors, including Adams Brown Farm Bureau, Baxel Tractor Sales, Carrington Farm Supply, Georgetown Marble and Granite, Southern Ohio Medical Center, Armstrong Crop Insurance, Community Fuels, National Bank of Adams County, Vital Farms, and Huntley Napa Auto Supply. Matt Hildebrand, your host, and joining us again today we have the Cluxton family. Thank you very much, Nathan and Sherry, for coming in and talking with us about your experiences as a farming family. And FFA, we're going to get into a little bit of that conversation, but where we left off, we were talking a little about, growing up as a farming family, now having your own farming family, and raising your kids and now grandkids on the farm. So one thing I wanted to get into, we kind of alluded to maybe a few times, is those generational changes and how much things change from, Nathan, from, your dad to your granddad and your great-grandfather who started your farm, founded your family farm. And then, again, Sherry, for you, even further back in the generations, how each new generation that comes along really kind of changes the way you do things. So, Nathan, for you talked about, changing things up in certain ways as far as what you guys were growing or what kind of livestock you had. But technology obviously has boomed throughout both of your lifetimes, especially when it comes to agriculture. So how much of that were you really aware of and trying to integrate as, the fresh kid on the farm, if you will?
Well, to be honest with you, it didn't really change a whole lot. Now, my sons and daughters, they're more the technical part to advance us or whatever. No, really, I mean, honestly, we got newer tractors, newer equipment as we came through the years. But as far as a technical side, we really didn't change much. Now that we are, you get the guidance and that kind of stuff and the combines and the tractors and I really leave that to them. I mean, it's okay if they bring it into the farm and we'll embrace it or whatever. But I mean, it's kind of like I told you, they talk about auto steer and things like that, planting, and I'm like, well, just put the planter marker down and follow the line it cuts. But I mean, we're working more into the technology side, or they are, which is good. I mean, I see the advantages of it. But no, really, from my grandpa to my dad to me, like I said, the equipment got newer, but really the technical stuff hasn't really came on in the last 15 years or so. So,
well, it seems to me that the advancements, again, going back prior to the last 20 years or so, any advancement you saw was usually towards what your yield was, right? You were making improvements so that you wasted less. In the last 20 years, it's been a lot more comfort improvements.
Yeah, I mean, the yields on the crops haven't increased dramatically. I mean, when I don't know how old I was, but when I was a kid, you got 120 bushel corn and 30 bushel soybeans. You had a good year. And now, I mean, if you're not getting 60 to 80 on your beans and 200 to 250 on your corn, that's where
you got a problem.
Yeah, that's where the norm is. So So and that's advances in the seed and like that. But and understanding how we fertilize and certain things. But yeah, that's I guess we tried to keep up with that. It's just the last 15 years of the tech stuff. I'll let them do that. I'll just follow.
You just like watching that monitor in the combine with the yields going up and
Yeah.
it comes
Yeah,
back
that's the
down. You know,
part
it's
I
like
like.
that's the good part of the field. Down here is not so good.
Right. Well, like when they started putting fuel efficiency in your car and you're trying to get it up, as similar for you guys then. Okay, good. Sherry, what about for you? And growing up in a farming family, was the technological advancement something you really thought about, or has that been more as you've had kids, like Nathan said?
Yeah, pretty much the kids.
Yeah.
I mean, because I'm computer illiterate. They make fun of me even with my smartphone. But we didn't grow up in school and that kind of stuff working on computers.
Sure.
I mean, if I had to type something, it was with a typewriter.
Right.
You know, we didn't have word process. You know, we just didn't use them. And I don't work on a computer every day, so I don't know everything. And they do. They make fun of us, but they're more comfortable with it. You know, I mean, when your 3-year-old grandkid comes over and swipes, and it's like, what in the world? You know, I'm playing this game. How do you know that?
Yeah.
But they're not afraid of it.
Yeah. Well, I think it is really a cool thing, because with the ages that your kids are, had a little bit of the experience of prior to all of that starting to be integrated. So they're really in that kind of Goldilocks zone of where technology has really blown up throughout their childhood and into, adolescence, of being able to bring that in. So good on you guys, though, because there are plenty of family farms out there that begrudgingly, have to use that because it's becoming the industry norm. But for you guys to embrace it in the way that you have, even if it is through your kids, integrating it for you, that's very admirable. So from the, going forward, as they start to take over and maybe take a little more responsibility on the farm, how do you guys handle that as far as, you mentioned your oldest, Taylor, has, or I'm sorry, not Taylor.
AJ is the oldest.
AJ's the oldest. Okay. So, but getting to the age where they're going to start taking a lot more responsibility, looking at if they want to kind of continue that farming legacy down the line. How do you guys approach that as parents, especially having, multiple kids that are involved in your operation?
It's going to be a long conversation, I think, because they're all.
Yeah, I mean, they're all involved. And I mean, even Carly, she's married, but she still has a couple cows on the farm. They all have cattle with us. Yeah. I'm not sure, just to be honest with you.
Hey, you don't have to think about it yet. But
we've been discussing,
for sure.
what are we going to do? I mean, because they all seem very interested in it.
You want it to be there. I mean, if you don't do something, there's a good chance it goes away just because of the way the laws are. But yeah, it needs to. You need to make it easy for them, I guess, as easy as you can. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and both of you having kind of gone through that transition yourselves as farm family kids. In your case, your dad wasn't 100% on the farm, was working outside of the farm. So taking that over from your granddad and having those conversations, how much of that experience for you and that handover to be the next generation kind of lives in the back of your mind?
It's there. I mean, I want to do it differently. Not that it was bad the way it happened, but I want to do it differently. Just because really I have 4 kids that are involved.
Right.
3 are still at the house and really involved. So yeah, it needs to be different. But.
Sure. It's not an easy thing.
It's a difficult conversation because you want them all to be appreciated.
Right.
Because we do appreciate them.
Right.
Yeah. Well, again, very admirable of you guys that you're taking your own experiences and kind of moving that forward. So with that, since it is FFA week, we kind of skirted the conversation earlier. Got to get into your FFA experiences individually. Coming from different schools, right?
Yes.
North Adams and Peebles. Starting off, the OVCTC, or I guess back in the day would have been the vocational school. Tell us a little about that initial experience. Did you start in your home FFA programs before transitioning to the vocational school?
Yeah. I was freshman, sophomore year at North Adams. Did livestock judging. I was vice president my sophomore year. Went to conventions, Parley Pro.
Yeah.
And I remember being at our sophomore FFA banquet, and I hadn't really decided if I was going to vocational school. And Phipps and McDowell were there, and they're like, "Hey, you want to come to vocational school?" And McDowell's like, "Yeah, be on the judging team." Well, I kind of felt like a sports kid, getting recruited by a college. I'm like, sure,
Yeah.
And I was a little hesitant just because being a girl and going to the CTC in the ag class.
Right.
And when I got there, I was the only girl in the junior class. There was no girls in the senior class.
Wow.
So I was the only girl down
That
there
is
for
amazing.
my junior year.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I was vice president, and I think I was president. I was president my senior year. And I got to judge at the national livestock judging contest.
Wow.
Yeah, Kansas
So
City.
that's big time.
Yeah, I was lucky enough to go to national convention 3 times the 4 years I was at high school. So.
And compete at the national level?
Just the one
just
year
the one?
at the
Okay.
national
I was
level.
gonna say,
Yeah.
man, you guys had a run like the Chicago Bulls.
Tony Sparks,
Yeah.
the FFA advisor at Manchester, we graduated together. So we were on that same team.
That's
So,
awesome.
Yeah.
So take us through, well, first I want to unpackage a little bit. Obviously nowadays, young ladies in the FFA, very commonplace thing.
Oh,
I
yeah,
think,
absolutely.
50% or maybe more of your FFA members are young ladies. So you were, right probably at the forefront of that transition where we saw a lot more younger ladies taking an interest.
At the CTC especially. Yeah. When my senior year, there was, I think, 3 girls in the junior class. So, I mean, at the high school, your freshman and sophomore year, you might have had a few more girls because they was just kind of doing it as filler, you know, and not really too many went on to the CTC because a lot of them wasn't making it maybe a career, or they didn't feel like it was necessary for them. But I went and I survived all those boys.
Well, and having had conversations with Phipps, at that, nowadays it's you have ag mechanics, you have the ag management. But at that time, if you were going to the vocational school and you were going to be in the FFA ag program, it pretty well meant you had made up your mind you were going to be, working a family farm, and that was kind of what the program was geared towards. So I would assume, coming from a generational farm as you did, that wasn't that difficult a decision, especially once McDowell and Phipps came recruiting.
Well, I just wanted to judge.
Yeah.
I'll be honest, that is probably really the only reason I went, because when I was little and be at the fair or the hog clinic or some of these other little judging contests, High Valley FFA won all the time, and I'm like, I want to be one of those kids.
Got to get some of those trophies and ribbons, right? Yeah,
I'm like, I want to do that. So, and I was very fortunate enough to do it. So.
That's awesome. Well, since you are a national competitor, talk to us a little about livestock judging and that skill set, because it's one that I think is very, very difficult to hone, even with the background of a family farm.
It's a lot different. That was 28 years ago, I think, now that I judged out there. And things are a lot different.
Yeah.
And of course, we didn't have to judge goats. We just judged beef, hogs, and sheep.
Okay, so that are a whole other species then.
Yeah. And I honestly did the best with sheep because we had beef cattle, and I used to take hogs for a 4-H project. So I had in my head my own opinions about those. Sheep, I didn't.
Right.
So I really paid attention, and it was hard, I think, with the beef and the swine.
That is really interesting.
Because you have your own opinions.
Right.
So, but I did the best with the sheep just because I didn't know. I didn't have
you
no
knew
preconceived.
only what they were looking for versus
exactly what I wanted in my own. So
that is really interesting, though. So obviously, a big deal to go to the national convention at any point in your FFA career, just to attend, but especially to compete. So talk to us a little about that transition of going from competing locally, competing then at the state level, which is a whole next step, to the national level, and it had to be a little A little daunting, I would
a
think.
lot of practice.
Yeah.
We went to after we won state that summer, we went to Ohio State's judging camp, clinic, whatever you want to call it, and spent a couple of days up there learning to talk reasons, how to handle finding the loin for lambs where you go and touch them. Like McDowell said, just grab it like a stack of books. And I still remember that. But the contest itself out there, I don't really remember a whole lot about the livestock. I do remember sitting, going over your reasons, and then going into the room. And you're standing up there and you're like, oh, geez, please don't let me fall on my face. Hopefully I took the right notes, for the right class and all of that. But it was fun. It was very, I don't know how to say it. It was, at the time, it was very nerve-wracking.
Sure.
Looking back now, it was like, wow, it made me think on my feet.
Right.
So.
Yeah, I think it's interesting in hindsight, and that's been the conversation that we've shared with a lot of the advisors. Interesting to note the difference between them and the kids, the experiences that they look back on, and the lessons you take out of it, and those feelings. But kudos to you, though. I mean, that's got to be something that I would imagine you still brag to your kids about, at least a little bit.
They get sick and tired of hearing about some of our stories. We've heard it before, Mom.
Yeah. Well, Nathan, what about you? Your FFA experience? Convention's always one of those that I think a lot of kids really highly anticipate. Just having that time to be away from mom and dad, to get to see a new place, meet new people.
Well, I mean, to be honest with you, I'm not going to be able to even compete with what Sherry just said. But,
didn't compete on the national level.
Yeah, wasn't a judger.
Okay.
More or less just went along for the ride. I mean, see the sights.
Sure.
But
can you remember any of the competitions that you did take part in?
Just at the vocational school.
Sure.
I did some dairy judging, a little bit of general. When they
Soil.
Yeah.
That one was, you bombed that one big time district.
I go to.
So not only are you reliving your own glories, you're reliving his losses.
I was there too.
So we go to the district soil judging contest. All right, we judge, we get done. They bring me in there. They're like, you need to do this tiebreaker test. I'm like, okay, whatever. So I do it. End up getting second place.
Yeah.
McDowell comes out after. He goes, Cluxton, you'd have won that. He goes, you was standing in a waterway and didn't mark you was in a waterway. Thanks, McDowell.
That's probably the only contest you ever remember, because I won't let you forget it.
Yeah, I don't live that one down. Standing right in the middle of someplace, not writing it down.
Well, it happens.
Yeah,
and his dad he worked for soil and water conservation.
Yeah,
so she's not let you live it down. I'm sure your dad didn't let you live it down.
No, I mean, yeah.
McDowell, Phipps could probably show up now and still hold it over your head at this
it.
very moment, man. Well, I think the note that a lot of, the advisors more so than the kids. The kids in the moment will remember the competition. They'll remember the successes and the failures, and I guess your wife will continue.
I won't forget mine, guaranteed.
But a lot more so, I think it's probably the people and the memories and the places.
Yeah.
So
Sure. Yeah.
Looking back, friendships, FFA friendships that you guys have held on to, you're a perfect example of that, kind of taking that friendship to a whole different level. Was there interest while you were in FFA together, coming from different schools as juniors? And
I mean, I didn't even know who she was till we went to the vocational school. And to be
I
honest,
didn't him either. And come to find out, I probably handed him his back number at the fair the year before.
Yeah.
I mean, he showed. I just didn't know.
It must have just been luck, because actually when I went to vocational school, I started in masonry. I didn't even start in farm business.
Yeah, he wasn't there in our class the first couple of days.
Yeah, the first 3 or 4 days, I don't think I'm a block layer, so I'll just go do something that I already know.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean.
Yeah, the first day I think you was in class, I wasn't there because we had the beef barbecue. And if you stayed out there all night, you didn't have to come to school. Well, that's a no-brainer, at the time.
I'll go hang out with my friends and watch some fire all night.
Yeah, and not have to come to school.
Right.
So then the next day, it was a Friday when come in after, are allowed to skip day. He's there, and I'm like, who is this? But then,
Now,
you know,
how
he
exactly
asked
did you
me
say that? That was
in
not
my
with
mind.
disgust, right?
Well, not disgust, but you know, it was like, who is that or
Yeah.
whatever. But then I didn't think anything about it because he asked me about some other girl when we was at the street fair. So
Oh, wow. It's you got some
It
rough
took a
stories
minute. It
against
took
you.
a minute, yeah.
but he says I asked him out. No, he asked me to go to all the North Adams ball games that
Yeah,
year.
do you believe that? I'm from Peebles, and I asked to go to a North Adams ball game.
I
was
gotta
the year
say,
they went to state,
his
you
story
know?
sounds more believable of the two, but knowing the old rivalries. But I think obviously the people, the relationships, the advisors you guys look back on. I mean, Phipps and McDowell are kind of legendary to Southern Ohio
Oh,
as
yeah.
far as
Yeah.
anybody in the ag industry. Anywhere kind of knows those names and has a story. So
Yeah.
it's you guys grew up in a great generation of that, as you said, kind of on the forefront of young ladies in ag. So maybe that was the attraction. She's the only girl
She
in
already
class.
knew what she was doing, so I mean,
I had my pick. I
Yeah,
guess.
exactly. Yeah, you were basically running on The Bachelorette at that point. So,
she probably wishes she picked somebody else now.
no, I'm sure not. I'm sure. Well, we're going to take another break with that, folks. I think that's a good pausing point before we get into any marital issues here. So with that, again, thank you to our sponsors, including Huntley Napa Auto Parts, Vital Farms, the National Bank of Adams County, Community Fuels, Armstrong Crop Insurance, Southern Ohio Medical Center, Georgetown Marble and Granite, Carrington Farm Supply, Baxla Tractor Sales, and the Adams Brown Farm Bureau. We're back with more of our FFA Week celebration after this here on C103 and Good Guys Radio TV.
Farm families like yours are growing their businesses to ensure their best farm futures. Farm Bureau helps your competitive advantage by advocating for members, connecting you to like-minded entrepreneurs, and providing you with insights and business solutions to grow your bottom line. Add to that healthcare benefits, financial and insurance needs, market intel, and legislative, regulatory, legal risk management tools, and it's easy to see how Farm Bureau is feeding your need for new ideas. Renew your membership or become a member today. Learn more at ohiofarmbureau.org.
Our business is helping you grow. We're Baxla Tractor. We take care of you like family.
We've been growing since 1946. As your Kubota dealer, our focus is to help you grow today and into the future. Stop by one of our locations today, visit with our folks, and see our entire lineup of Kubota products.
Our business is helping you grow. Baxla Tractor.
Carrington Farm Supply in Georgetown has everything you need for your farm, large or small. Carrington Farm Supply can provide your operation with high-quality farm supplies, equipment, and fertilizers. And since they're an independent ag retailer that's family-owned and operated, it goes without saying that you'll also get high-quality service. Stop in at Carrington Farm Supply in Georgetown Monday through Friday from 8 to 5 or Saturdays from 8 to noon. Call Carrington Farm Supply at 378-3221 and tell them what you need. Chances are they'll tell you they've got it. More than a century of service. Let that sink in for a moment. For more than 100 years, since 1908 and through 4 generations of family-owned business, Georgetown Marble and Granite has stood firm in our community. They've helped thousands of families pay their respects and have memorialized so many lives gone, but not forgotten. When that difficult time comes, Georgetown Marble and Granite will be there to assist you too. Visit their location on East North Street in Georgetown or call 937-378-6314.
At SOMC, it's happening. Now the SOMC Patient Portal app puts managing your healthcare right in your hands. You can request appointments with a simple touch of a screen, quickly and easily get a refill of your prescriptions, make online bill payments, direct message your SOMC provider, and even have safe and convenient virtual visits just about anywhere. The Patient Portal app at Southern Ohio Medical Center. Very good things are happening here.
If this summer brings scorching temperatures and drought conditions, Armstrong Crop Insurance, your local hometown agency, can come to the rescue. They're here to protect your crops from excessive heat, rainfall, wildlife destruction, hail, and even uncertain prices. They have 3 full-time agents who live and farm in your community. The deadline to apply for crop insurance is March 17th. Don't stress all summer long. Call Armstrong Crop Insurance today at 937-378-4430 for a quote, or stop by their office at 501 East State Street in Georgetown. Armstrong Crop Insurance, where the agent is the advantage. Equal opportunity provider. Agriculture is what drives our community. That's why the folks at Community Fuels in West Union are proud to help drive agriculture. Whether it's fueling our local farmers as they head to the fields for spring planting season, or supporting our students as they learn and grow through our local FFA organizations, Community Fuels is there, and they'd be happy to help drive you too. Community Fuels in West Union, proudly serving Adams, Brown, Claremont, Highlands, Scioto, and Pike counties for all your fueling needs. Call today at 937-544-2190.
Whether you play on a football team, a baseball or softball team, a soccer team, a bowling team, a golf team, or a basketball team, the National Bank of Adams County is proud to be a supporter. At the National Bank of Adams County, we have been a part of this community for years. Our children have learned to play every sport in this county, and we've been there to cheer them from the stands. The National Bank of Adams County is proud to support all of those who step up to the plate, the line, the tee, or the net. Good luck and have a successful season.
The National Bank of Adams County, keeping it local. Member FDIC and equal housing lender.
Hi folks, it's Marty Huntley. Spring is just around the corner and it's time for our annual Farm Days filter and tool sale at Huntley Napa Auto Parts in West Union and Georgetown. For 12 days only, Thursday, March the 6th through Monday, March the 17th, save up to 55% off our everyday prices on Napa Gold filter. You heard that right. That makes a $10 filter just $4.50. Check out some of these other great deals. Shell Rotella 1540, just $13.99 a gallon. Napa regular or synthetic blend oils, $3.29 a quart. Bubble One full synthetics, $6.99 a quart. Napa full strength antifreeze, $8.99 a gallon. Lawn and garden batteries starting at $26.99 exchange. Tractor hydraulic fluid, $39.99 for 5 gallon. Group 31 truck and equipment batteries, $99.99 exchange. Diesel exhaust fluid, 2.5 gallons for just $9.99. Valvoline Crimson Red tube grease, $3.99 per tube. Looking for quality tools and equipment? We've got DeWalt, Milwaukee, Carlisle, and more. In stock at great prices. Stop in Thursday, March the 6th through Monday, March the 17th and save up to 55% off our regular prices on Napa Gold filter. That's Huntley Napa Auto Parts in West Union and Georgetown. We're open 7 days a week and weeknights until 7 p.m.
Welcome back in, folks, to our 10 a.m. community show and our FFA Week celebration here on C103 and Good Guys Radio TV. Thanks again to the Cluxton family coming in and talking with us today. Guys, as we get ready to close out, just one, we've heard some great anecdotes and stories of your time in FFA and as a farm family. Closing out the conversation, just life lessons learned. We talked about some of those from the family farm, but through the FFA program that you both took part in, the vocational school, obviously a lot of memories, but life lessons, life skills that you picked up through your time there. Nathan, what any that you can pinpoint?
I can't really pinpoint a life lesson. Some things I picked up, and my kids are going to kill me for saying this, but like the record keeping, I probably picked that up there because, before I wouldn't even write.
Don't throw him under the bus.
I'm not. I'm like, you took my answer.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
But yeah, that's probably just a better way to keep track of
Sure.
what you're doing, how you're doing it.
Well, and I think, again, coming from a farm family, going into that, you talked about it with judging livestock. You kind of had your own way of doing things and how things worked on the family farm. So to go into an organization where you're seeing maybe a more way of doing it by the book, right, can be a bit of an adjustment.
Right. Yeah, they get on me. I'm like, did you write that down? I'm all the time. Get me numbers, cow number, whatever you're doing, so I can write it down, or keeping the books, like where's this receipt or what was this for, that kind of stuff. That's my role. I feel like a lot more anymore. I don't actually help as much, because the kids are big enough and they do it. So I'm more of the secretary.
Accountant, right?
Yes. Yeah, well,
is that I don't know. You're good with that, I would assume, if that's the role you've taken. And
I'll let you know if we end up in Leavenworth after our taxes are done.
I don't know. It's just what I've done. He's like, I don't know. I've just done it since we got married.
Yeah,
I don't.
Which I'm glad about, because
and maybe that's why, because I know he doesn't like to do it, and it doesn't bother me. So I just have taken the role and just done it.
Right. Well, that seems to be the way with all farm families. If you're going to be successful, if you're going to keep doing it generation after generation, everyone has to take that role and that work and take charge and take ownership of it to keep things going. So,
Right.
yeah. Before we close, favorite story from your FFA days outside of going national competition is a pretty good one to have already
that
shared.
one was really good.
Yeah.
Walking around the American Royal while the state 4-H judging team was judging. McDowell had me with them because Christy Waters was on that team. And
Yeah.
she had we shared a room or whatever. We were walking around the trade show and we stopped at some booth. It was massagers. And the salesperson thought I was McDowell's daughter, who McDowell may have came to my shoulder, you know, and he laughed so hard. He goes, "She's not my daughter. She's my student."
Yeah. Well, that's good.
That's just one of my favorite memories, you know, just because I thought a lot of Gary McDowell. So,
Absolutely. Yeah.
yeah.
A lot of people did, you know. Nathan, what about for you? Outside of obviously meeting and charming the love of your life.
Oh yeah, was I supposed to say that was my
Probably.
favorite? That would have been the best thing.
That's
to
why
say.
I mean, I
Cue
can
him
say
up for
that, but it might actually be because I don't really remember a whole lot from the things. The things we did, yeah,
Sure.
but to pinpoint a certain memory, not really. I mean, we did some crazy stuff, like when we had tobacco at the vocational school, and
Yeah.
us students going out there doing stuff. I mean, we did some things that are memorable that we won't mention, but yeah, I mean, to pinpoint one, probably not. I can't pinpoint one.
Riding the pigs. Is that one you didn't want to
Yeah, that was
mention?
one we wasn't going to talk about.
Okay.
but, yeah.
Hey, we'll just leave it as a mystery, folks. Some things are better left unsaid. But obviously, you know, your time in FFA meant a lot to you guys then, still means a lot to you today. To have become, you know, FFA parents and, you know, grandparents someday is
Hopefully, yeah.
yeah, with any luck, right?
Yeah.
Well, I do thank you both for coming in and taking our time. I'm hopefully that water leak will get sorted out.
Well, I'm sure we'll hear in a couple hours.
Here in a couple of hours. All right. Well, again, thank you all for coming in, and thanks to everybody who's joined us this week, all of the local FFA chapters. If you've missed out on any of our shows that we've had here on Good Guys Radio TV, would encourage you to go back and check those out. Had some great students, some great advisors, and a great farm family with us here today. Thanks again to our sponsors, including Adams Brown Farm Bureau, Baxla Tractor Sales, Carrington Farm Supply, Georgetown Marble and Granite, Southern Ohio Medical Center, Armstrong Crop Insurance, Community Fuels, National Bank of Adams County, Vital Farms, and Huntley Napa Auto Parts. Thanks again for joining us here on C103 and Good Guys Radio TV.